Episode 2 of the Soft to Shredded series, and the fat loss phase is off to a flyer, but I'm not going to tell you my week 2 results until the end of the video because, well, I don't want to give away all my secrets very early on. And today's video is going to be all about the nutrition side of things. I'm going to take you through a full day of eating and my thought processes around food when it comes to dieting. Bearing in mind, this diet is aggressive, so we're looking to get in and get out. So I'm going to show you the kind of foods that I eat to make sure that I maximize and get the most out of my calories, and also just keep things kind of ticking over and all that kind of jazz. So that is what today is going to be, and then I will share with you week 2 results at the end, bearing in mind that within that first week I did drop 2.8 kilos, so we got off to a flyer and things are looking all right. I will tell you that. But first, we are going to the gym. Peace. Okay, so whilst I'm sat in traffic on the way to the gym because this idiot decided to drive to the gym at 8:30 in the morning, which is peak rush hour, apparently. This is what happens when you work from home. You forget that people actually have to drive to work. So I thought I would just talk about picking your battles a little bit when it comes to fat loss, because something that I talk to my clients a lot about is whilst you are dieting, whilst you are looking to lose some body fat and lose some weight, you are going to be hungry. Like, that is inevitable. It's going to be something that happens. It's going to be par for the course, right? It's like trying to, we mentioned this in the previous video, it's like trying to go for a shower and not get wet. Like, it's going to happen. It is par for the course. You need to get your head around that. So picking your battles is something that I think is really important. So for me, I cannot stand being hungry in the evening time. I just can't stand it. Once I've put the kids down to bed and I get that hour to myself where I'm sat down on the sofa in front of the TV watching a bit of football, Champions League, watching a bit of Netflix. United fans won't know about Champions League anymore, sorry guys. But whilst I'm watching a bit of the football or whatever that might be, say that, City are out the Champions League this week. Shit. Anyway, I like to have something to nibble on. So I do not like being hungry in the evening. I can't stand it. You know, I like to backload my calories. I like to make sure that I always save a few hundred calories for the evening. So in order to do that, I accept that I need to be hungry maybe earlier on in the day. So I tend to push my first meal back as late as possible whilst I'm dieting. This isn't optimal for training. So right now I'm on the way to the gym. I've had a pre-workout, so I've got some caffeine in the system, but obviously I would prefer to train fueled. So I prefer to train with some carbohydrates, some glycogen. I prefer to go to the gym feeling like I've got something in me to give me a better session. But I'm not looking to optimize training performance right now. I'm looking to lose body fat. So for a short period of time, I've got to understand that my training performance might not be quite as good as what it is whilst I am not in a fat loss phase. I'll go train. I will then push my first meal back as late as possible, 12, 1 o'clock, something along those lines. Make sure it's really protein dense, make sure it's full of goodness, so to speak. And then that allows me to then have a larger evening meal with a family, and then again, just save some of those calories for the evening. So I'm kind of picking my battles, and my battle is, well, I will be hungry in the morning, you know, whilst I'm focused on work, whilst I'm doing client check-ins, whilst I'm doing training programs, whilst my mind is preoccupied. That's when I'll accept that hunger can be a little bit higher and I can manage it a little bit better, and then it just frees up a bit more of those calories for later on in the day. So that is my first key point. Obviously there's a lot more to come, but my first thing to think about is, or the first thing to think about I should say, is picking your battles. Hunger is par for the course. When do you want to be hungry and when don't you want to be hungry? That is the gymnasium done. So there was a cheeky little full body pull workout there. So I think I managed to film some RDLs, which despite only being able to see a 20, I can promise you there was 220. So I was doing 100 kg on the RDLs. And I was doing that for around about 7 to 9 repetitions on average, and we were really kind of focusing on tempo, so the quality of the lifts rather than the actual load was the priority on those. Followed up by some biceps, some hamstrings, some other bits and pieces, a lot of pull movements there, obviously some rows, some lats, so lots of pulling motions involved in today's workout, which was the focus, obviously. So I'm back home, I'm gonna crack on with some work. As I say, if I wasn't dieting right now, I would refuel pretty much straight away. And like, this is still something that you might want to do. Like, just because I fast, it doesn't mean you should. In fact, I had a call with a client this morning who tried fasting last week, who tried cutting out their breakfast, and they hated it. You know, they absolutely hated it. And she's on 1,200 calories a day, so she's on very low calories. But for her, she prefers to, this is my client Claire, who in fact, I will drop her progress pictures on top of this video right now because she's looking fantastic. She's dropped around about 10, 11 kilos since we started working together. And despite her calories being low, she still likes to split her meals into 3 to 4 evenly portioned sizes across the course of the day. So maybe 200-300 calories, lots of volume, lots of protein. She prefers that approach. So like I say, for me, I would normally refuel if I wasn't dieting right now. But because I am dieting and it's only 10 to 10 in the morning, I'm going to get myself back to work. I am going to do another couple of hours worth of check-ins, and then I will probably look to have my first meal around about 12 to 1 o'clock, which I will take you through. So a little bit of an insight into things. Generally speaking, I would love to refuel, but ultimately the goal right now being fat loss. For me, it works restricting my calories during the morning. It's not quote unquote optimal, and not all coaches will tell you that you should do this, and I'm not telling you that you should do this. I'm just saying it's a tool on your belt that you can utilize to restrict calories, and it can be very fucking effective. Right, so it's now 1 o'clock and I'm about to have my first meal of the day. So as I mentioned to you earlier, picking my battles, for me, I found it quite easy to push this first meal back. I'm not saying that you will find that easy to begin with, but for me being super busy in the morning, going to the gym, doing client check-ins, doing lots of work, like, I've not really got hungry. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there hasn't been little moments where I thought, oh, wouldn't mind a bit of food there, I wouldn't mind digging into some fucking porridge or something like that, but ultimately I haven't eaten, and now I'm about to have my first meal of the day. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, and I'm going to show you an example of kind of what I'm trying to achieve with my meals whilst I'm dieting, and also just a bit of a hack in terms of what you can do as well. So this is meal one. So we are looking at chicken, salad and rice, and then I'm also going to put some balsamic vinegar on the salad, and this is the goat of all dressings. Absolutely fantastic stuff. Now, you will notice there is a lot of food there. Like, there's a good amount of chicken, big amount of salad, decent amount of rice. That is just one pack split between two. And then what I have done here is I have doubled up. So when you are cooking something and you know it's going to be in line with your macros, in line with your protein target, don't just make one portion, make yourself two, because I know that I only have to track this once today and just double up the portion size, and that's my lunch, that's my dinner. Is it exciting? Not really. But is it really fucking effective? Yes. And especially when you're super busy with kids and work and life, that just makes my life so much easier, just eating those 2 meals today. And to give you a little bit of a macro breakdown in terms of where we're at, where's my phone? These 2 meals, once I've added my salad dressing on as well, which I know how much I have, we're going to be looking at around about 500 calories per meal, so 1,000 calories for those 2 big plates of food. Each of those meals are giving me just under 70 grams of protein, because I'm having 265 grams of chicken breast, obviously half a pack of rice and the other bits on top. So just under 70 grams of protein, 500 calories, so 1,000 calories for your first 2 meals of the day. That's still leaving me, bearing in mind my targets right now are 1,900 per day, apart from my refeed days, so my high calorie days, which are going to be a bit higher at 2,500. That's leaving me a solid 800-900 calories for me to have a snack this afternoon, and then also potentially have a little bit of something on the sofa later on tonight. So some Greek yogurt, some fruit, some honey, that kind of stuff. So I should very comfortably not only feel full, but also hit my targets, no problem. Do you know, off those 2 meals alone, about 140 grams of protein, I only need to get another 40 grams of protein from a snack this afternoon and my evening snack as well to hit that target. So I will probably end up on 200 grams plus of protein quite easily, which again, whilst you're dieting, the more the better from a satiety standpoint, that feeling of fullness, and it's going to allow me to nail my nutrition. So this has come with pre-planning, by the way, and this is something that I mentioned in the previous episode. If you aren't planning your meals ahead of time and you do get to your meal time and you are hungry, the chances are you're going to make a bad decision. So don't leave it to chance. Make sure you know exactly what your meals are going to look like. That's an insight into what I'm going to do today, what I'm going to eat. I will obviously pick this up later and see if there's going to be a snack included, but there we go. Lunch, dinner sorted, nice and easy. It took me about 25 minutes to do it all in line with my calories, all in line with my macros. And this is the reason I'm getting the results that I am, which I will show you later on. Another tip whilst you are dieting to help you manage your hunger is caffeine. Monsters are obviously the go, but generally speaking, caffeine in general, coffee, whatever your preferred choice of caffeine is. It's just going to help you navigate some of those trickier moments. So I wouldn't recommend having this too late in the day, obviously, because you want to be able to sleep in the evening. So this is actually kind of past my curfew. It's 1:30 right now. And normally I would kind of cut my caffeine out around about 1 o'clock so that I can get to sleep at night. But 1:30 is not going to make a huge difference, but it just takes the edge off. Again, it just helps suppress hunger a little bit. Again, this isn't a long-term tactic. You know, some coaches might tell you this is damaging fucking advice when it's really fucking not. It's just a way of actually keeping your hunger levels fairly under control whilst you're dieting. Again, dieting is supposed to be short and sweet. You're not supposed to do it for long periods of time. So if you can help suppress hunger a little bit by having a Monster in the afternoon, which tastes fabulous. Like, this is a ridiculously good flavour, by the way. But why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do it? So have yourself a Monster, have yourself a coffee, and nothing bad's going to happen from that. It's literally just going to give you more energy, suppress your hunger, and help you get through those trickier afternoons and mornings when hunger might normally be a bit higher. Good afternoon, team. It is now 3 p.m, so I'm having a little bit of a mid-afternoon snack before I finish my check-ins for the day and then go pick up Thea from nursery. So I'll show you what this is going to look like. So this is going to be 200 grams of melon, because, well, melon is very low calorie, but you get a lot of melon for a small amount of calories, and a protein bar, because, well, protein is good, and these are fucking unreal. Like, honestly, these are amazing. Now, obviously, I do get like a discount code with Perform, so I'm gonna say that, but genuinely, these are the best protein bars I've had. Code Jake if you want to get involved. Generally speaking, I'm not gonna lie to you, I wouldn't recommend having protein bars. Depends on how low your calories are. I can fit them into my 1900 calories fairly easily, as long as I'm balancing my other meals, as you saw earlier. But if your calories go low, so I'm talking 15, 14, 1300, which they will have to for a lot of people, I probably wouldn't recommend a protein bar. Don't tell Perform, but they are quite high calorie for not much protein, so the bang for buck isn't actually amazing. So I wouldn't recommend them all the time. It depends on the amount of calories you've got and how much freedom you've got. But for me, a bit of melon, I love melon, and a protein bar in the afternoon keeps me ticking over. So that is going to put me, that's around about 250 calories, 20-ish grams of protein. But bearing in mind, I've already got 140 grams of protein from my 2 meals. That's putting me on, shocking mass, 160 grams of protein. And I've still got plenty to play with for later on in the day. So it's beautiful outside. I'm going to sit down, I'm going to eat this, and I'm going to get back to work. Okay, so it is the end of the day and I have just sat down. It is 8 o'clock. To be fair, that's actually quite early for me to sit down, so it's 8 o'clock and I'm just sitting down with my final meal of the day. So before I show you that and before I go into the results that I got in week 2, I just sort of kind of wrap up on the points that I've made today. So first of all is picking your battles. So again, I've saved a lot of calories for this meal that I'm about to eat now, so that I am not going to bed hungry and I'm not sat around in the evening being hungry, because, well, nobody enjoys that. It is not fun, or certainly I don't. You know, I would much prefer to be hungry in the morning whilst I'm busy with work, as I mentioned earlier, so that I can enjoy a little bit more in the evening. Secondly is just being organised and accepting that, you know, ultimately your meals might not be that exciting for a period of time, but that's okay. You know, eat for volume, make sure you're prioritising protein, and you'll be absolutely golden with this stuff. Like, fat loss is not supposed to be the most fun thing in the world, but it's also not supposed to last forever. So if you can utilise your calories to stretch a bit further with things like salad, with things like lean protein sources, if when you're cooking you can make double portions rather than just individual portions to make your life a bit easier, so you can track a bit easier, like, all of these things are just going to make your fat loss journey 100 times more simple. So try to plan ahead, pick your battles, know when you want to be hungry, know when you're okay being hungry, more importantly. Batch cook, so whenever you're making something, make sure that you are making multiple portions of it, and be organised with it all. Do you know, look after your environment. If I was to open up my fridge and my freezer and my cupboards, you're going to see things which are all in line with my goals. You're not going to see it packed out with chocolates and crisps, because, well, if they're there, I'm going to fucking eat them, right? And for me, moderation doesn't really work that well. Hopefully that has helped. So I'm going to show you my final meal of the day, which is boom, 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 boom. You probably know it if you follow me on social media, in a Pyrex dish as well, because the bowl that I would normally use is being used. So got 430 grams of skyr, 50 grams of raspberries, 50 grams of blueberries, 20 grams of honey, which is working out at, to be precise, I'm going to tell you now, be handy if I had this to hand, and I can give you a rundown on the daily totals as well. 429 calories and 48 grams of protein. So my meals for the day, everything included, we're looking at a total calories of 1,884, so just under the 1,900 target that I have got, which is wicked. I have also managed to get 206 grams of protein, 192 grams of carbs, 35 grams of fats. Wouldn't want my fats to be much lower, just from a hormone balance standpoint. Yes, it's great to get more carbs and more protein, and generally speaking, you'd want to get more of those foods, because 1 gram of protein and 1 gram of carbohydrates is only 4 calories, 1 gram of fats is 9 calories. So you can actually eat more food by getting more protein and more carbs in. But for general hormone balance, mood, stress, all that kind of stuff, it's very important that we still get a decent amount of fat in there. When I say a decent amount, we're looking around about ideally in my eyes, kind of 0.5 to 1 gram of fat per kilogram of body weight. So for me, I'm probably even just on slightly the lower side today. So I could even drop a little bit of peanut butter in here for 20 calories just to bring that number up to kind of 40, 45 to kind of look after that side of things. But generally speaking, that has been a very successful day. And hopefully you've managed to see that actually with a bit of pre-planning here, your meals, one, they don't have to be super boring. Like, I don't think my meals have been that boring. Maybe they have, but they're not super boring. And two, if you plan ahead of time and you get fucking organised with this stuff, like, your meals can go a long way. Like, the size of that, look at the amount of food that's in there. It's absolutely enormous. When it's all blended together and mixed together, it tastes really nice. If you utilise your calories properly, trust me, 1,900, 1,800, 1,500, 1,300 calories can go a long way. You just need to be sensible with your decision making, okay? So, softer shredded, that is coming towards the end of episode 2. So next up, let's go through my results. Right, as promised, let's go through the numbers for week 2. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably will have seen this post. If you don't follow me on Instagram, why are you not following me on Instagram, okay? So the numbers for week 2, which has been very, very successful, so I will put my starting picture up here and my current up-to-date pictures up here. So you'll see the end of week 2, and my numbers are as follows. So starting weight was 91.7 kilograms. At the end of week 2, I was down at 88.2. So that's 3.5 kilos down, which is superb. In terms of my actual targets, I've set myself 5 days at 1,900 calories and 2 refeed days at 2,500 calories, protein 180 grams, steps 11,000 daily. I did get these targets from Softer Shredded, which you can download below if you want to get involved, and you can get yourself some similar targets and some similar progress. How I actually managed things, average calories for the week were a little bit higher than what I wanted them to be, because we did have a Mother's Day meal in there and we did actually have 1 or 2 other things going on, so it wasn't quite as good as what I wanted it to be across the course of the week, but we averaged out at 2,700 calories, so a little bit above maybe where I'd like to be, but either way, lots of progress was made. So again, it's always about consistency over perfection here. Average protein 203 grams, average steps 14,404, 4 gym sessions completed, 2 full body push, 2 full body pull, 2 runs, total calories burned 1,815. So generally speaking, another superb week in the bag, and hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight into how I manage my nutrition and how you might want to manage yours as well. Although there's no right or wrong, if you start implementing some of these tips, well, you'll be onto a winner, along with downloading Softer Shredded, of course. The link is below. Get involved. You can get all of these targets yourself, set up for fat loss. You'll get your step goals, you'll get your cardio targets, you will get your training plan, and you'll also get lots of emails from myself and Jake talking you through the things that you want to look out for during your diet and during this fat loss phase. Any questions, give us a shout. See you in the next one.